Mr. Sanchez Amor, first of all, let's make a bilan or evaluation of 2021. How was it, according to you, in EU-Turkish relations?
Well, it's clearly better than the year before. The 2020 was probably the peak in the worst tensions or relation between Turkey and the European Union. But we are passing a kind of flat period to try to jump ahead. I received very well the last statement from the President Erdoğan, again linking Turkey to the European Union history and culture and political sphere. But what we are asking to Turkish authorities is facts. As I said, don't send more love letters, just send facts. Okay. That means you have to prove the coherence of your narrative, doing things. And doing things means doing reforms, abide with the European Court of Human Rights, and try to approach, in fact, the path of the European Union.
Okay. We are going to talk about these facts.
Okay.
And but first of all, as you mentioned, President Erdoğan says Turkey belongs to Europe geographically, historically, but Turkey faces injustices from the EU side. Do you share this opinion? And what are the main misunderstandings between two sides?
But we have had a lot of misunderstandings, and probably from some prejudices from our side. As you know, here in the Parliament, there is some political forces having a very anti-Turkic, anti-Islamic stance. But this is not the majoritarian mood in the European Parliament. We are open to examine, we are open to assess the progress of Turkey in the path of the European Union. And for that reason, we have to assess the relation in several phases. Some of the phases related to the accession process is a normative process. That means you have to approach some benchmarks, and there are a lot of progress in that. In other part of our relation, more transactional, we are doing more or less well. I think migration has functioned with some tensions, but it functions as a whole properly. We can talk about custom union, for example, visa liberalization, other aspects. But the problem from the European Parliament is we are linking any progress in the relation to Turkey with the situation of human rights and rule of law. Yeah. This is our role as a parliament, and for that reason we are insisting in examining the situation, the domestic situation in Turkey related to human rights and rule of law in every aspect of the relation.
Okay. When it comes to human rights, today we talk about the case of Osman Kavala and Selahattin Demirtaş before the Committee of Ministers of the Council of Europe. And Council of Europe seems to become more and more important in Turkish-European relations. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned that in your reports as well. And what is the importance, real importance of this Kavala case, especially for the European Parliament, for the European Union?
Not only Kavala, but both cases, Kavala and the Demirtaş cases, there is a kind of test of coherence in the narrative of the Turkish authorities. Sometimes I heard from Turkey, they are demanding things to Turkey. We are not demanding anything. Turkey is a member of the Council of Europe. Turkey has to abide to the court ruling of the Council of Europe. This is not a question we are asking as a political stance. Is the image of the country who it has risk? Because if you don't abide I repeat, your international commitment, you are lacking of trust in any partner you can have in the world. And for that reason, I insisted we are not asking things to Turkey related to Kavala or Demirtaş. We are only asking Turkey to abide from their commitments in that cases. And for that reason, I don't like to enter in a kind of a political quarrel. We are asking things politically to Turkey, but in these cases, it's Turkey who has to abide, because it's a Turkish commitment and not a demand linked to the accession process.
If Turkey does not fulfill this commitment about Kavala case, or after maybe a Demirtaş case, according to European Court's judgments, what could be the consequences in EU-Turkish relations?
The cases, both cases are part of the framework of the Council of Europe. And we have not to enter in this idea. But because we have to assess what is the delivery of Turkey in the human rights and rule of law, of course we have to take into account any aspect of what happened in Turkey with human rights and rule of law. And Demirtaş and Kavala's and many other cases are depicting an image of Turkey in which there is enormous backsliding in the democratic standard. And if we want to have Turkey as a real, honest candidate country, Turkey has to start approaching the European standard in many fields, but mainly related to the accession process, to human rights and rule of law standard. For that, I would like to be very clear. We are not a part of the cases of Kavala and Demirtaş, but Kavala and Demirtaş and any other case related to human rights, we have to assess in order to examine what has been the deliveries of Turkey related to the accession process.
Understood. You are about to drafting your report for 2022. And it will
for
be
the period 2021 till...
Of course.
Yeah.
It will be debated at the plenary
June, probably.
in June. Okay. Last year, in your report, the Parliament asked for the suspension of negotiation talks with Turkey.
Yeah.
What is it for this year? Are you going to ask the same things? And even in your report, we felt that there is a tendency to talk about a privileged partnership with Turkey instead of membership. Is it still the case?
No, really. You have to remember, in this report, in my first report, I asked the European Union and the member states to be coherent and to be sincere in our offer. This has to be crystal clear. If we are asking things to Turkey, because Turkey is a candidate country, we have to be clear and honest. If Turkey delivers in the benchmark, so probably we are needing many years, but if Turkey delivers finally in the benchmark, it can't appear a kind of cultural religious identity veto. This is very clear. Our offer has to be sincere from the very beginning, because this is the only stage in which we can demand things to Turkey. For that reason, because Turkey didn't deliver in human rights and rule of law, it's a clear backlash, it's a clear step backwards in human rights and rule of law. This is clear. Any international report is depicting this worrying situation in human rights and rule of law in the country. We ask for the formal suspension because we appreciated there is no political will from Turkish authorities to advance in that kind of things. And for that reason, I insist, okay, I appreciate a lot, but I don't want to read another action plan. What I don't want to read the papers is that the prosecutors are not prosecuting a student just for tweeting some criticism, or the enormous use of the legal concepts of terrorism dedicated to anyone, or how a person who has published a leaflet has been accused of a physical attack to the president. Is that kind of things that we would like really to appreciate, and not only to receive more papers, more plans, or more draft reforms.
Last question about international relations or geopolitical issues. Turkey and Armenia, they have started normalization talks. Yeah. How do you see this development from the European Parliament perspective?
Excellent, good news. If we can help in any way to overcome the situation, this nomination of two persons dedicated to explore the idea after what happened in Nagorno and the worrying situation in the area, I think this step from Turkey has to be really appreciated, because this is the good mood that we would like to see in Turkey. Turkey is a very powerful regional actor. We recognize that clearly. There is no doubt on that. But this role has to be creative, has to be positive in the way it's now being with Armenian thing. This is the kind of thing that could approach Turkey being a powerful regional actor to the standards of the European Union, and to try to act side by side outside our area. And this is excellent, good news. I do really want to receive good news in that sense in the coming months. Okay.
Last question I said, but I cannot help asking about French presidency of the European Union. President Macron mentioned when it comes to enlargement process only the Western Balkans. But nothing about Turkey's perspectives, membership perspectives. How do you see that? I mean, is it a forgotten thing for the European Union?
No one European leader of the size of Mr. Macron is forgetting things, just because their advisor didn't put it in the papers. But coming from President Macron, probably this intentional silence could be a good news, because we know there are some tensions lately, personally, between Mr. Macron and Mr. Erdogan, because Mr. Erdogan, they stated not very kind things to Mr. Macron. But if I understood well, what is the political rationale behind this intentional silence? It could be a period in which we can act without having a lot of noise, and this is good. I think if the French presidency attempt not to put Turkey in the front page of authority, this is not bad. If we take into account what happened in the former years and the tensions we have experienced, and I would like to use this peaceful period without a lot of public noise to try to develop some silent diplomacy to try to attract Turkey again for a clear and committed European path. But as I said, I have to repeat, with facts. We need facts.
Mr. Sanchez Amor, thank you very much.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.